or the prime rib French dip, or any of their famous chicken lips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
The holidays are right around the corner. This is a great year to give your family and loved ones a gift of shoes to encourage them to stay active. Fleet Feet Lincoln fits you properly for shoes, and they offer a free group that meets 3 days a week, plus other training programs and a walking group on Mondays. Get healthy, stay healthy with proper shoe wear from Fleet Feet Lincoln and a group of friends that will support you and keep you accountable. Start your health adventure at Fleet Feet Lincoln at 77th and Pioneers.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Hope the holiday weekend went well. No Rico today. Nick Sainer joining you as usual here on the Happy Hour. Huge shout out to Empire Fence and Netting for their support as always of the program. I'm joined alongside Austin Norman, who will be with me for the full 2 hours today, as well as Jay Foreman. What's up, gents?
How we doing?
What's going on?
Hey, Jay. How's life, man? How was the holiday?
It was all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Watch some football?
I did.
See the Lions get the NFC North title, guys?
I did. And unfortunately, I saw the Dolphins win.
Yeah. Tell me about it. The Ravens. Quite
Made
the
a
victory
statement.
last night.
Made a statement.
True or false, Lamar Jackson more valuable than Christian McCaffrey?
True.
That's hard to say. I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, it would.
Yeah.
I would. But see, I could also argue that Trent Williams is probably the most valuable player on that team.
Okay.
But I think Christian McCaffrey went to San Francisco and just took off.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good in Carolina, especially with Cam Newton, but it's different when you're playing at the level that he's playing right now. And he had 15 touchdowns in a row.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Christian McCaffrey. He won somebody almost $500,000 on a five.
He did win
Yeah, he
Woo!
did.
Yeah.
$486,000. I'm not a better, but
$5 turned into $486.
yeah. I mean, who even
Grand, by the way.
who even finds those bets?
Who knows? Now, I know when you like participate in the DraftKings or the FanDuel apps, they track them.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, that's how like social media finds out like, hey, this better put $5 down on a 14-leg player prop.
Yeah.
And
It hit.
They need a Christian McCaffrey touchdown.
All right.
Which
is the easiest
one
one.
of the surest ones of that entire parlay.
Especially they knew about it before the game. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know Kyle Shanahan a little bit. He would probably,
help him out.
In his back. I mean, within reason. The funny thing is, I was telling Jake Sorensen back there because he was all hyped about the Dolphins. I had to let him know that the Baltimore Ravens, the equivalent of that game is like public school kids against a private school football match. You thought you were good. You thought you were tough. Those are some tough dudes.
Ravens way.
Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Fred Warner are going at it. Who's the best? And Roquan was not playing games yesterday.
That was a big acquisition for the Ravens from the Bears because they got him for next to nothing too.
Right.
They got him for next to nothing. And Roquan had a really good start to his career in Chicago.
It was great ever since he came out.
I was just going to say, it wasn't like he was not living up to his potential, needed a new place, needed a fresh start, and he's just elevated his career since. That man has continued to soar on this trajectory ever since he came out of college.
You got to think he had a forced holdout as a rookie because remember the Bears didn't want to pay him his slotted salary or whatever it was. Came in, lights it up, continues to play consistent. Then they franchised him, right?
Yep.
And then he came back reluctantly. Came just right off the couch kicking butt, and then they traded him essentially for pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the Ravens needed that too, with Patrick Queen not developing as quick as they thought he would have out of LSU. I think he was on that title team. He's fine. I know a lot of Chiefs fans wanted Kansas City to draft him, but to be able to get Roquan Smith to give Patrick Queen some more time, and then they get Kyle Hamilton last year.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton has played some really good football recently.
Right. Yeah. He started off slow. Kyle Hamilton started off slow. Now he's a factor with Humphrey and those guys. They just, whether it's Harbaugh, it's DaCosta, it's Ozzie Newsome, it's the owner. It's just the way that they go about the. I think Ozzie Newsome has really set this organization up for a lifetime because everybody. He's a kind of a GM from afar, so he's watching over things, and they're just they're drafting well, they're developing well.
It feels a little Steelers-ish.
Yes.
Which is funny because you have the Steelers who've been so well run for so long, Baltimore with Newsome set up pretty well, and then you have the Browns, who are maybe improving a little bit, but are still the Browns, and the cheapskate Bengals, who at least have talent now, but we'll see how they manage this.
Yeah, and expectations with the Bengals. And are they, was it kind of like a Dan Marino type of thing, right? Where they, the Dolphins came out, they went to Super Bowl, and he's going to, Joe Burrow have a ton of stats and really good receivers, but never win anything. But for the Ravens, when you think about it, what really always hurt them was expanding, Lamar Jackson as far as being a passer and working within his skill set, not trying to make him something that he's not, and just finally getting a receiver early in the draft, which is Zay Flowers, who actually is kind of like Lamar Jackson. Great after the catch, can make you miss, turn something or nothing into something, and he's been healthy. Then you'll get an OBJ sighting here or there. You got Bateman that's healthy finally, and then you're waiting for Andrews to get back healthy.
Well, and that's part of it. I mean, you looked at, they had Marquise Brown for a while, which was a spurt, right? And then they decided to deal him to Arizona, and they got Zay Flowers.
Right, it was the draft pick.
It was the draft pick. And so it's crazy when you think about just the Ravens, I guess, just roller coaster of a ride this season specifically, because remember, halfway through the season, they were a team that in the last, I think, 2 or 3 years has the most blown leads in the fourth quarter in the entire NFL. I mean, this is a team that was unable to close and maybe looked like a middle of the pack AFC type of team. A team that's going to make the playoffs because they're just talented and they have a pretty good quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Once was going to be close to a Nebraska commit, by the way. Before
he was a silent commit
before Bo Pelini got fired. Then he went to Louisville and had an incredible freshman year. But the Ravens looked like a middle of the pack team, and now here they are at 12-3, probably going to be the best team at number 1 seed in the AFC.
Speaking of the Browns, I want to ask you guys, not to get off kilter, Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Lost me my fantasy matchup.
Right. I mean, he had like 80 points.
It was insane.
If you won that, then you really are. But you might need to be a GM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Amari Cooper, and think about this, is essentially Dallas gave him away to the trade. Just was like
it was detrimental to Dallas too.
Right, but
it hurt Dallas more than I think it helped Cleveland at the time.
Right. But you got to think the trade it wasn't breaking news.
No.
It was just like you say on a Friday news dump. And think about this, right? Just think about Amari Cooper. He goes to Oakland, consistently over 1,000, 1,200 yards. He does it, finally gets traded to Dallas, does the same thing. They draft CeeDee Lamb and probably anoint CeeDee Lamb a year too early.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. But it wasn't because of performance, though. He had a like essentially a Pro Bowl year, the year that they got rid of him. The reason why they got rid of him, and think whatever you want. I'm not getting into politics. They got rid of him because he wasn't vaccinated.
Yeah.
And then he also, because if you're not, I guess the rules were if you're not vaccinated, when you come back to the team, or you got to sit out 2 weeks. Well, then he went to the Mavs game and didn't wear a mask. Yeah. So then not only Stephen Jones, but Jerry Jones, the dad, was like, all right, we got to get rid of him because he wasn't, willing to do what he needed to do. So essentially what I'm saying is Dallas, which they need another, just think they could still have Amari Cooper at his current contract and have the same salary cap that they have right now because of the other guys they picked up. They needed him, even though Dak had the drive to get back up by 1 point. They could have blown the Dolphins out with a Amari Cooper type of receiver opposite or in conjunction with CD Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're trying to piece together, Ferguson, the tight end, Pollard, can't get in from the one, Brandon Cooks, Cooks,
yeah.
who's probably better as a number 3 or kind of a 2A.
Yeah.
Well, I would, if you had Amari Cooper and say you have Brandon Cooks, I would say, okay, you got 1A and 1B. Then he would be your 2A, but it would be a different type of 2A, right? Where you can say, oh, we got you matched up against the injured corner. But just think about the ramifications of that trade 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And what he's done for Cleveland with and without Deshaun Watson, and what he's doing this year with Joe Flacco, who just came off the couch and is like, man,
Joe Flacco for the first time in his career has 3 straight 300-yard passing games.
There it is.
He's 38. First time in his career he's doing this.
So you guys also, in addition to the whole vaccination thing, this was because the Amari Cooper and Dallas thing was slowly coming to an end. Like you saw it back in like 2019.
Yeah.
That like, okay, Dallas wanted to move on, but they knew he was good. He was a wide receiver 1. He was a true wide receiver 1. But you'd also remember that even before the COVID stuff, Michael Gallup was the dude, was who they were all in on.
Right.
Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper had 1,000-yard seasons in 2019.
And he was on his rookie deal.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup then had, I think, 900 yards in 2020, and that was right in the middle of all the COVID stuff. Amari Cooper still had over 1,000. And so then in 2021, they're like, all right, we're sending you to Cleveland.
And Gallup's
going to be our wide receiver 1. Gallup ends up getting hurt. Here's Gallup's stats: 400 yards in 2022, 418 yards receiving in 2023. Because obviously they have CD Lamb, who, as we talked about, anointed wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
But they were all in on Michael Gallup after 1 season or after 2 seasons in Dallas, because he paired up a 1,000-yard season with Amari Cooper's 1,000-yard season, when in reality, when you have to worry about Amari Cooper on one side, it doesn't matter who you put over there, whether it's CD Lamb, Gallup, whoever, Cole Beasley, whoever it is.
Yeah, Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley had his a couple games.
Cole Beasley was almost an all-pro Julian Edelman, 2.0. And this is what's funny is that when you have Jerry Jones, and they've done a really good, even when Bill Parcells was there, they did a good job of drafting guys. They just always are too overbearing. Is that if you asked a defensive coordinator, you should just went downstairs, knocked on your defensive coordinator's door and say, okay, if you have these 2 guys here, who are you going to have the game plan for? 99 out of 100 times, they're going to tell you Amari Cooper, because he's coming out of college. He was one of the best route runners ever to come out of college. And just like the last 10 to 15 years, he has deep speed. He can win 50-50 balls, and he has sure hands. And he's explosive, and he's consistent, right? Not very, I think he had a concussion, and he went through like a game or 2 where he had drops, but that happens to everybody, right? So when you think about it, you gave away a surefire number 1 receiver in his prime for pennies on the dollar for a guy that you chose to draft. I think Gallup was in the 3rd or 4th round or whatever, because he's from Baylor, right?
Here, I can look it up.
Where he got, for a rookie.
He was from Colorado State.
Oh, Colorado State. That's right.
Colorado State.
A young guy. And then also the guy that you drafted really high in, CD Lamb, hadn't developed yet. So you've been better off keeping Amari Cooper, and then,
with a quarterback that you were unsure what you wanted to do with.
You were reluctant to pay him.
You were nervous.
Again,
to pay
another
him.
guy.
And so then you take away his
safety net.
His scapegoat.
Trying to get him to fail.
Right.
Almost.
Right. Essentially, But then they couldn't. Then Dak started. It's mistake after mistake with the Cowboys, and now they're in a pickle because they have shown the ugliness or the weakness of the defense not being able to stop the run. And now you're seeing some of the things that you didn't want to handle on the front end. And here's an example. This is comparing player to player. Amari Cooper goes and he's continued to be 1,000-yard receiver in consistency, right?
Yeah.
You fired him, let's just say, for personal reasons, right? Because he wasn't available for 2 games. Well, then you got Tyron Smith, who's was a high draft choice, who hasn't played a whole season in I don't know how many years, and you continue to keep him on the team, and that's your left tackle position,
and pay him,
and continue to pay him, and re-up him or restructure. It's the Dallas Cowboys, because you saw it, and that's how you're not able to finish games, because you don't have. Amari Cooper showed you he's still a finisher.
How about this? I mean, I'm looking at Amari Cooper's stats by the year. In his 10th year, this is his 10th year in the league because he was drafted, or excuse me, 9th year in the league. His rookie season was 2015. Has 7 seasons over 1,000 receiving yards. Has not had fewer than 680 receiving yards in a season, which was in 2017 on a 6-10 overall Oakland Raiders team. Then in 2021 with Dallas in his last year had 865 receiving yards. He has, let's see, 6 Pro Bowls. He finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, so
3rd in the Heisman in college
exactly,
in 2014, but hasn't been a Pro Bowler since 2019
with 3,000 plus yard seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been a Pro Bowler.
And underrated.
Or essentially, he looks like he's just quiet as a church mouse. I think like when he got the game ball, he's like, all right, thanks. Let's go to, we'll see. I mean, so that also plays in it as well.
Yeah.
Where he's going to end up with Hall of Fame numbers, most likely, and probably has done maybe 1 or 2 national interviews.
Yeah. 11 catches, 265 yards, and 2 tutties.
Yeah.
Against Houston.
With 15 targets.
Yeah.
That's efficient too.
Which is efficiency, and then also when you have a Joe Flacco at quarterback at this time.
That's pinpoint accuracy.
Certainly helps.
Yeah, and knows how to play. Yeah. And also, but Cleveland's offense, I saw it because I watched that game start to finish. You have a guy that had 265 yards receiving, but he had 8 other guys that caught passes.
Wow.
They were, I mean, look, I want my Houston. I mean, but that's just it. They're just better than you on that day, man.
Houston got worked. Indy got worked.
I mean, let's talk.
Bills got worked and got lucky.
Let's talk about Houston here, and then finish it off with the Raiders. Houston without CJ Stroud, I mean, struggles. They're struggling without a quarterback. They're, I think, on the bubble, if you will, of the playoffs. Are they just limping here? Because it seems like CJ might not be coming back for a couple weeks here.
The fact that he was ruled out so early let you know it's. I mean, first of all, I mean we're gonna have, and this is not. I guess it's a shameless plug, but it's not a shameless plug. When we start Inside the Huddle, we're gonna have Dr. Razdan and Finn on from Advanced Medical Imaging. Dr. Razdan has some unique knowledge about concussions. From my experience, though, my concussions were a lot of like ramming. I'm going head first. Now, the worst one I ever had was when you hit your head on the back of your head. That's what happened to CJ Stroud on the turf. And when he got up and they were walking him to the locker room, he didn't look good. It wasn't like the ones where he kind of got all of his stuff back and he needs a week off. Or it has to come down. There has to be this discussion upstairs, and we always say upstairs. Head coach, GM, owner, right, and all the. Do we shut him down for the betterment of him and the franchise? We've already had a really good season, right? Exceeded every expectation.
Oh yeah.
Will Anderson is a little banged up
in the first year of a head coach,
right?
First year of a first-time head coach,
right? With talent pool suspect at best.
Yeah,
Tank Dell is out. Tank Dell is out.
Well on the draft last year,
and Tank, his number 1 receiver is out.
Yep.
Collins just came back. Schultz is good as a tight end.
Stingley,
starting to, he's finally healthy. Do we shut down CJ for the sense of you don't want it to be something that lingers into the offseason for the betterment of him?
I'll use a cross-sport comparison here. Houston this year feels a little bit like the Orioles did last year.
Yeah.
They're a year ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Almost. Where DeMeco Ryans is a good coach. How does he adapt to head coaching? CJ Stroud had all those questions. Don't know where they came from coming out of Ohio State just because of the Wonderlic or whatever. But we knew the dude could play football. And he had the Ohio State, history of unsuccessful NFL quarterbacks ahead of him. Not a big proven receiver either. So I think Houston did a great job in finding some pieces for the future. But you absolutely cannot prioritize a run at a wild card spot this year over a run at the division next year.
Yeah, to face Baltimore. You're just essentially playing one more week.
And no offense, I mean, let's be real about the division there, and also the AFC South.
Did you know all 4 teams have a negative point differential?
I'm sorry, Austin, but the Colts aren't scaring you with Shane Steichen,
and neither is Jacksonville either.
Steichen's fine. Minshew's the problem.
Maybe Minshew's the problem, but is Anthony Richardson going to be the savior?
Yes. He's a rookie again.
Okay,
but still,
rookie part.
Next year, you feel like you're going in to be the favorite.
Well,
right?
let me ask you this, Jay, as somebody that's been in the locker rooms, in a situation like that where Richardson's going to be viewed as a rookie, does the expectation still creep up? Because essentially
it should be higher. It should be, you're a rookie, So there's going to be growing pains, but he's had this rookie year that he's played some, been successful.
Studied in.
So he's kind of had a 4-game redshirt year. So you expect it a little bit, you're not going to be a true rookie. But if I say he's a rookie, if I'm Houston, I'm thinking like, all right, we know we got a franchise quarterback. We know we have a really good receiver in Tank Dell. We know we have both the tackles locked in. We know we have a young defense that we need to get better players at, but we got Will Anderson. We got some dudes like that. We got Stingley. We got some pieces in there.
Malik Collins, of course.
Malik Collins is doing real well. One of the Davis twins is down there as well.
Just got signed.
So they're really doing like good with what they have. You just don't chase a short term, little win to say, okay, we made the playoffs and got bumped out or getting blown out on the risk of getting your quarterback even more damaged with a concussion. And it all depends on where he's at. He might, be okay in a week or two. Then you might want to, get out there and get busy.
It's not to say they can't make the playoffs without him, right? You still push the rest of the roster to make the playoffs and do it, but you don't rush CJ Stroud.
No, you got Case Keenum that's done and played, so you just kind of roll with him and see if he can get it going. And see, you got to need a better game plan. I felt like, Cleveland was playing really good. Houston played really bad, and so they learned, the difference of when you get a Super Bowl quality quarterback, a Joe Flacco, and when he knows that he has a receiver that's winning, that's what you want. I want to know what I know. Houston won't be able to trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr., but just imagine if they could get somebody like that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wanted to talk Raiders, but we're up against the clock here. I want to move to the Titans because that's a team in that AFC South that's interesting to me. You have Vrabel, who's had success, obviously, and we all know like the AJ Brown trade was, destroyed him, kind of. But in a way, here going into a quarterback-heavy draft, they took Will Levis last year. We know Malik Willis doesn't seem to be the answer. And Ryan Tannehill is on his way out. Like this last weekend against Seattle was now Tannehill didn't shine. Obviously, they lost 20-17. That was Tannehill's chance to show other teams, I can still play.
Yeah,
and
he'll get a shot.
I think he had 150 yards with no touchdowns and no interceptions. But nonetheless, like you still have Derrick Henry, who I'm not sure how he's viewed anymore. But you still have Derrick Henry. But this Titans team is 5-10. And I'm not sure
they're going to blow that thing up.
This was the Titans team. The Titans were an organization a few years ago when they had AJ Brown, where it was like, yeah, we can have a mediocre quarterback, just a serviceable guy in Ryan Tannehill, and we'll still get 10 wins and we'll win the AFC South and we'll be in the playoffs and maybe we'll sneak a couple. That's not the case anymore.
No,
they are bad at the quarterback.
They're bad at the quarterback. The receiver they drafted from Arkansas,
Traylon Burks,
he hasn't developed yet. Again, that's tied in with the quarterback. I think Will Levis could be good. I'd like to see him, I'd assume he's going to start off as a starter in the offseason.
Yeah.
The offensive line isn't as dominant, and that was an ultimate equalizer. The defense is still formidable. They need to re-up there. I like Vrabel. I like Rand, Carthon, the GM. And I feel like with that experience, it's going to be hard to replace Vrabel. But he's on the hot seat after this.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry won't be back. Tannehill won't be back.
Yeah.
If I'm Derrick Henry, I'm trying to go
D-Hop's probably gone.
No.
Yeah. I'm trying to get another paycheck if I'm Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Try to go get, like a 2-year deal. That's 1 year, imagine Derrick Henry.
Can he get 2 for $20?
He could, but you know who might give it to him?
Buffalo?
Well, I'd love Buffalo to do it. I doubt it. Baltimore. It would be because here's why.
I like JK, man.
You do, but he's injury prone.
He is.
But here's what you get. You're going to get a guy that's going to punch holes in defense with Lamar Jackson. That RPO or whatever it is they're doing would be flat. I mean, Derrick Henry
pass to Mark Andrews. I mean,
Derrick Henry can do more out of the backfield than what his body type really thinks. I mean, imagine him with Baltimore and about this time, Nick. It's snowing.
Yeah.
Would you want it, Nick? Here's what now envision this. It's 4th and 2 at the goal line for the AFC Championship in Baltimore. Derrick Henry, Nick Sainer at middle linebacker. Who are you liking?
Derrick Henry. Come on. I mean, Derrick Henry doesn't have a 1,000-yard season this year. Not yet. He'll get it. I mean, he has to get 28 yards to get it in next Sunday. 250 carries, 972.
You got 2 games.
3.9 yards per carry. I mean, that's not Derrick Henry-esque.
No.
That's not.
He's
Derrick
battled
Henry-esque.
some injuries.
He has.
For the first time in his career.
Bad team.
And a bad team and a different philosophy, too. When Will Levis came in, they were chucking and ducking to see what he could do.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk bowl game previews. There's a game coming up at 1 p.m. today between Minnesota and Bowling Green.
Oh, that's such a hard game for PJ Fleck.
It's going to be a barn burner. But let's talk a little PJ Fleck, because his record in bowl games is something that I think a lot of places would appreciate. Undefeated. We'll talk, at least at Minnesota, that is. We'll talk about that coming up next as we get you ready for Minnesota and Bowling Green, a real barn burner coming up in a little over 20 minutes. You're listening to the Happy Hour. Nick Sainert, Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you right here, 93.7 The Ticket.
Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The holidays are right around the corner. This is a great year to give your family and loved ones the gift of shoes to encourage them to stay active. Fleet Feet Lincoln fits you properly for shoes, and they offer a free group that meets 3 days a week, plus other training programs and a walking group on Mondays. Get healthy, stay healthy with proper shoe wear from Fleet Feet Lincoln and a group of friends that will support you and keep you accountable. Start your health adventure at Fleet Feet Lincoln at 77th and Pioneers.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken lips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years. and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
This is Jeff Essink, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of snow showers taking place throughout the day. We'll see an afternoon high around 32. Tonight, a slight chance of snow will continue. Otherwise, we'll see mainly cloudy skies and a low around 20. And tomorrow, a slight chance of snow continuing throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny skies expected with a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clicker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainer.
Herbie the Fourth ate his first solid food today, prompting a response of nothing but steaks all week for the Nebraska offensive line.
Then Enrique Alvarez Clary.
No more peaches and carrots for Herbie the Seventh. Baby food be damned.
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainer, it's Austin Norman. Appreciate Jay Foreman for hanging out for that first segment. Great discussion on NFL and that entire world, especially Amari Cooper. So if you missed any of that show, or segment, I should say, go check it out, podcast page and theticketfm.com. So once again, Nick and Austin with you. Let's talk a little college football here, because in 15 minutes or so, they're going to get ready to start the Quick Lane Bowl, played at Ford Field, home of the Detroit Lions. And it's Bowling Green against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now, it's interesting, obviously, because I believe, is this the first? No, Northwestern would have been. But Minnesota, obviously, the big.
How about Northwestern, by the way?
We are going to dive deep into Northwestern because big David Braun guy, huge David Braun guy. But nonetheless, Minnesota 5-7. They're one of the few 5-7 teams that made the bowl season. How about this? They lost their last 4 games of the regular season.
Sounds like someone else I know.
There you go. They were 5-3. Actually, in the driver's seat of the Big Ten West was Minnesota. They ended up losing to Illinois by 1. They lost by 19 to Purdue. They lost by 34 to Ohio State, and they lost by 14 to Wisconsin. And to end the season 5-7. They do not have Ethan Kaliak-Manis. He is still in the transfer portal. I'm surprised he also hasn't found somewhere yet, like a lower G5, potentially. Maybe
screams MAC to me.
Yeah, like he screams like a Bowling Green.
He does. But who's at Bowling Green right now?
Connor Bazelak, former Indiana Hoosier starting quarterback, guy that went from Missouri, transferred from Missouri to Indiana, and then Indiana to now Bowling Green. Bazelak on the year, not that impressive. A little over 1,700 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 picks. How about this, though? And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. PJ Fleck, overall, as much as we give him flack, but when you look at PJ Fleck, he's 7 years at Minnesota. He's 49-34. This was the second time that he's gone 5-7. He went 5-7 in his first season, and obviously 5-7 this season. Every single other season, I mean, you look 7-6, 11-2, 9-4, 9-4. Then they had the COVID year that was 3-4. Remember, they were down 30 players at a time, and they ended up beating Nebraska down 30 players. But nonetheless, PJ Fleck, in his 7 seasons with the Golden Gophers, 4-0 in bowl games is Minnesota under PJ Fleck. Now, there's been a lot of, experienced players on those teams. You've had Rashad Batemans, you've had the Tanner Morgans, you've had the Mohamed Ibrahims, you've had the mammoth offensive linemen that they had. They graduated all 5 of them at one time that were all over 300 pounds. Like, you talk about this developmental program, I guess, and Minnesota was that for a while. This was the first year where it felt like maybe there's some instability there with Minnesota.
That's fair to say. Minnesota is a fascinating program that I think it's where a lot of the Big Ten West programs are. It found its way in the Big Ten West for the most part, but where does it stack up in the new Big Ten? Where does it stack up in the new national picture, right? Let's not forget Minnesota was ranked as high as 12th or 15th in some college football playoff rankings at one point.
Yeah.
And that never felt sustainable. I didn't think. I mean, Tanner Morgan was really good that year. The thing with Minnesota is that I feel like if PJ goes 9-4 consistently, they're not going to be able to fire him. But I don't know if that's what Minnesota wants, because I think the bowl system's going to change. I think that eventually either PJ's shtick is going to run up, come due up in Minnesota, but it doesn't seem like people are, as put off by it. They seem to have really, folded into rowing the boat like PJ wants. But at some point, will Minnesota, do they get tired of going 9-4, 8-4, 7-5 even? Like, you can have a kind of Northwestern it to some degree, but probably not as drastic where you can't bottom out. But I don't think PJ Fleck is a bad coach. He won't let Minnesota bottom out.
Yeah.
But how much higher can PJ Fleck take them? I just don't know.
Well, so I mean, how about this? You look at, I want to make sure I get this right. So you look at the 2019 season. That's the one Austin was referring to. They got to 7th in the AP poll. They lost, I believe,
it's Penn State.
They beat Auburn in the Outback Bowl that year. Did Minnesota? They were 11-2, 7-2 in the conference. They finished 10th in the AP poll. But listen to some of these statistics from that year. Tanner Morgan, 3,500 yards, 30 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. It helps when you have 2 NFL wide receivers on your team, in Tyler Johnson and Rashad Bateman. They also had Chris Ottman-Bell that gave Nebraska fits many times. And Mohamed Ibrahim wasn't even the leading rusher. It was Rodney Smith.
Rodney Smith.
That's Smith right. Led the way with 228 carries for 1,100 yards. Mohamed Ibrahim had 600 yards. And then their third string running back, Shannon Brooks, had 400 yards. I mean, so you're talking about having a Tanner Morgan who had a little over 3,500 passing yards there just through the air. And then let's see.
Yeah, it's 1,800 rushing yards.
2,200 total rushing yards. I mean, that's incredible. That's not Minnesota like.
No.
And so
that defense was pretty nasty.
It was. They had Antoine Winfield
Jr.
on that. Yeah, Antoine Winfield Jr. on that team. A couple other really nice players. But when you look at Minnesota, it's like now that started to run its course. Like, I think that they can feed off of that 11-win team for a while, but now it's 5-7. PJ Fleck, he probably, I would have picked, is going to go 5-0 in bowl games, because I think Minnesota will probably get the job done today against Bowling Green. They are 2.5-point favorites in this one, but nonetheless, like, you look at Minnesota and like you said, I think they have to figure out where their ceiling's at. I also am curious on, like, okay, who's next in line for Minnesota, because they took PJ Fleck from his Western Michigan job after a 13-1 season with the Broncos, and he was like the hot G5 coach. He was the Scott Frost of, I think, 2016.
He was just 1 year before Frost.
Yeah, because 2017 was his first year at Minnesota. So after in the 2016 coaching carousel, or 2017 coaching carousel, if you will, prior to the 2017 season, he was the big G5 coach that everybody was talking about, and Minnesota ended up getting him.
Speaking of who's next in line for Minnesota, let's play a fun game called Who's Minnesota's Starting Quarterback today?
Oh, geez. I couldn't even tell you.
First of all, let's play a different fun game. How many quarterbacks are listed on Minnesota's roster right now on the official gophersports.com website?
I'm going to guess 2.
It is 2. You have Cole Kramer, redshirt senior.
Which he was on that 2019 team.
Yep. And you have Max Shikanjansky.
Okay.
Those are 2 quarterbacks for Minnesota.
Cole Kramer's getting the start.
Yeah.
So Cole Kramer has played in 2 games this year. He's attempted 1 pass. So in his career, how about this? In his 5-year career with the Golden Gophers, he has played in 16, 19, 21 games. 21 games for the Gophers. Has 44 rushes for 195 yards. Through the air, 8 of 14 for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. So quite a bit of inexperience.
Yep.
But Minnesota did go out and get a pretty good transfer portal quarterback as well.
They did.
So that'll work. I want to talk David Braun when we return. But actually, maybe we'll save David Braun for the 1 o'clock hour.
You need more time for David Braun. Don't kid yourself.
We don't want to push it. Nebraska, though, we'll pivot to Nebraska football because they have the fellas over at On3, obviously Sip and the guys at On3 have confirmed on another visit for the weekend of January 5th. We'll tell you who it is. Coming up next as we wrap up the noon hour, Nick Sainert, Austin Norman with you right here. Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apple, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with 4 Lincoln locations, but now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
This is a house of learned doctors.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
As soon as your eyes shut, I'm going to punch you square in the face.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Austin still with you. Before we get to the Husker news, let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685, where we have Damien on the line. Damien, appreciate you being patient, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was curious to see. I'm a big fan of Nebraska, been all my life and stuff like that. Watched Nebraska when I was growing up and do all the home games. Used to be a season opener and stuff like that. And I was just curious about the signing that they had for Nebraska and stuff like that to see who we might have for. They were talking about for new quarterbacks and stuff like that for Nebraska for next year.
All right, cool, Damien. Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for calling. Let's start right at the top. You have Dylan Raiola. I mean, #1 high school quarterback out of the country. Used to be the #1 player in total. I mean, just all together in the entire country throughout whichever rankings you looked at. It's Nebraska's highest commit in program history, replacing Marlon Lucky from the class of like early
2005.
Thank you. Yeah, early 2000s. So yeah, Marlon Lucky was previously the highest rated commit. And he was pretty profitable for Nebraska, I think. So when you look at Dylan Raiola, though, right, it's even more polarizing because it is at the quarterback position. You hope that Nebraska can find a blend of how to get him experience, which because you would expect that he's going to be the starter, but then also allowing him time to grow into the college game. We get so infatuated. I mean, heck, I even tweeted it out. You get so infatuated with the high school stats, right? 32 touchdowns this season, just 1 interception.
88 to 11 in his high school career.
Exactly. 88 touchdowns, 11 INTs. Nebraska alone had 16 interceptions throughout all 3 quarterbacks that saw the field this year for the Huskers and Matt Rule. So, I mean, you get excited when looking on paper, right? And many times, like throughout the last couple of years, because Nebraska just hasn't maybe had the depth. When you look at Nebraska in recent years, we somewhat I don't want to say crowned Taylor Martinez, but he saw some early playing time and he was instantly like, all right, he needs to play. Adrian Martinez, he was the pride and jewel, pride and joy and the jewel of Scott Frost's first class. He was the guy that Scott handpicked to be their quarterback. And was he good? Yeah. Did he get Nebraska to where they wanted to be? No, unfortunately not. And there's other factors that come into play, right? Obviously, the people you put around him, and that's something that I said with Dylan Raiola, is that going forward, I hope, and from all accounts, like it's unfair of me to sit here and be like, oh, they're not going to do this. But at the end of the day, Nebraska's going to have to figure out a way to beef up the offensive line. They're going to have to figure out a way to complement Dylan Raiola with a running back and run the ball with a running back, and also find a couple playmakers on the edge, right? They did that for an extent of time, a short period of time with Wan'Dale Robinson. And you look at what Adrian Martinez could do when they had Divino Zigbo in his 1,000-yard season, but then you also had Wan'Dale Robinson maybe in 2019, JD Spielman in 2018, where you go to on the perimeter, but also he didn't have to be Superman. Not to say Adrian didn't try to be Superman at times, but you look at like other programs, right? And there's a lot of really good quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy is a perfect example. JJ McCarthy might be a top 5 pick in the draft next year. Like that's the projections that he's now getting after this season with Michigan. There's been a multitude of games that he hasn't thrown for over 125 yards. He's just a game manager. That's what you need, I think, Dylan Raiola to be in his freshman year. The preparation, the IQ, the knowledge is going to be there, right? It's when the bullets are flying at the college level, how do you respond? Dylan Raiola, we have yet to see because he hasn't taken a snap in college football yet. But if he can be that manager and they can find some guys in the backfield to, hey, you know what, carry it 20 times a game and find, 3 or 4 yards per carry. And then also they can bring in a transfer wide receiver, whether that be Julian Fleming, whether that be Jamal Banks, the visit from Wake Forest, who is going to be here on January 5th. If they can bring in Dante Dowdle from Oregon in the backfield, now we're starting to cook with gas to see what could Dylan Raiola, as the leader of this Nebraska offense, look like in year 2.
It's interesting you bring up JJ McCarthy because Michigan is using him very differently than Nebraska would have. If JJ McCarthy were at Nebraska, you would see some more inflated rushing numbers.
Yeah, bingo.
You would, right? But I think Michigan found the proper way to develop a quarterback because they had Cade McNamara before him. Because McNamara couldn't move. And McCarthy came in as a changeup, but they didn't say, oh, you're going to run the ball. Like they used him as a quarterback. He threw the ball, just about as often, if not more often, than he ran it. Did they do different concepts? Absolutely they did. But JJ McCarthy was allowed to grow into the player that he is now. I don't think he would have been afforded that same kind of opportunity at Nebraska because fans and that coaching staff would have seen he's a mobile quarterback, got to use his legs. Shea Patterson, I think, is another example where, number one dual threat guy coming out of high school, but Michigan relied a lot on his legs. Didn't go so well. That's where I think Nebraska, it could be good for them, this coaching staff even, to kind of reset its expectations at the quarterback position with a pocket-based passer.
And that's what he is. Dylan Raiola, he has the ability to move, and he has the ability to kind of read defenses and look them off. Like, there's going to be times where, and Nebraska fans will see it, and you see it if you watch his high school tape, is where he's going to make it look like he's going to throw the ball with the intention and knowing that the entire time he was going to take off and run with it. That's just what maybe those next level quarterbacks do. We cannot, as Husker fans, coronate him as the next coming for Nebraska football. We have to allow him, and it's easier said than done, certainly. You have to allow him time to allow the on-field play to catch up with the off-field knowledge. And what I mean by that is he's coming in, as we know, with the family, with the background, with the ability to be in meetings at such a young age, that he might be, Bowling Green just scored a touchdown in 3 plays. But with the ability to, be in the meetings and be present in those conversations, that he might come in light years ahead of some other quarterbacks on Nebraska's roster. that doesn't mean that the play on the field and the quick time adjustments in real time are going to catch up and be the same speed.
That's just the thing. I'm going to make a statement, but I want people to manage their expectations accordingly. Dylan Raiola might be the best in terms of his pocket awareness at the quarterback position that Nebraska's had since Tommy Armstrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, right? You still got to play Phil Parker in Iowa. Guess what? Good defense confuses people. Guess what? UCLA has had some studs on defense recently. Rutgers has beefed up on defense. Colorado's athletic. There are going to be growing pains. Just because he might come in, more ahead mentally or better in the pocket than other guys Nebraska's had, doesn't mean he's a ready-made, surefire, from day one, light it up stud. You hope so, but be patient with the young man, right? You want to see, to me, enough signs of progress. They're like, yeah, we made the right choice in going after him and, kind of sending McCord out the door. We feel good about our choice. He's got room to grow and improve. But kind of like we talked about with CJ Stroud in Houston, when Jay was here a couple segments ago, I would like Nebraska to be a year ahead of schedule in that they get to, 8, maybe 9 wins next year when we're just hoping for a bowl game with a freshman quarterback, but they don't, blow anything out of the water, right? Because I think 2 wins of 8 or 2 years of 8 to 9 wins in the regular season is a great step forward for this program that wouldn't, blow the roof off of expectation.
Well, I mean, here you go. Dylan Raiola, he made the decision to join Nebraska, right, at the last minute in the last week of recruiting before the early signing period. He made the decision to flip from Georgia to Nebraska. Now the pressure is on. Like you don't become the quarterback in Nebraska without pressure. And Dylan Raiola understands that wholeheartedly, I would imagine. And part of that also, Austin, is Nebraska's staff can never rest.
Correct.
And what I mean by that is whether there's a transfer portal target in 2 years that is, attractive for the staff, they can't rest. And because you need to not only figure out ways to develop your program and continue on that upward trajectory, in which we hope is an upward angle, but then also you need to figure out a way and persuade Dylan to stick around also. There's that part where if you're reluctant to bring in transfer portal guys because you don't want to run your program in that way, but then you tie that in with the inability to develop maybe a wide receiver through the high school ranks, well, it's going to be hard to keep any quarterbacks, whether they're a legacy or not, here in Nebraska, because it's, what do you want me to do? How is this prepping me for the next level?
That part.
And Nebraska's got to figure out a way and needs to realize, and once again, this is not a shot at Matt Rule because we have yet to see whether or not they're able to do this. Nebraska as a program needs to figure out and realize that, hey, what's best for Dylan Raiola is best for Nebraska, because this is an opportunity for Nebraska with a guy that probably has an NFL ceiling, and he is projected to be an NFL guy, has the tools off the field. We'll see if it translates to college, the college game on the field. But nonetheless, if they're able to hold Dylan Raiola for 3 years, find success. And what I mean by success is 3 bowl games. Let's just say that 3 bowl games, while also building your program so that way when Dylan leaves, you're not starting from square one. That's the best case scenario. But guess what? If you rest or you take a day off or you take an off season off from the transfer portal, or you can't develop a high school wide receiver, well, you're probably not going to even make it to year 3 with Dylan Raiola.
You probably won't. And that's where I think preparation for the NFL for Dylan Raiola could have looked like, hey, we're bringing you in. We're drafting you in our, traditional high school recruiting class because we believe in you. We just have the opportunity to go get this other guy, to give you time, to give us time.
Yeah.
Don't take offense that we're going to get a guy. You have every opportunity to beat him out. You have a fair shot. Live with it. But then let's say it is 2.5, 3 years down the road and Nebraska's going after a quarterback in the transfer portal. The hope is that Dylan Raiola is mature enough to not take offense to it and dip. The hope is like, hey, I'm confident in what I've done. I'm confident in my abilities. I know I'm the guy. I put this program on my shoulders. Things are going well. I have a chance to mentor the next guy and start leaving my legacy.
Bingo.
The problem is if there's an ego, if it gets in the way, right? Where, again, we don't know exactly what went down, but was there an element of Dylan Raiola didn't want to sit? Yeah. And that's why Nebraska wasn't able to get the quote unquote bridge guy. Or if Nebraska goes out and gets someone from the transfer portal, will it be, well, why are you bringing him in? Is he here to replace me? You don't want any of that from the quarterback position. We just don't know how Dylan Raiola would handle that.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, oh, by the way, let's just touch on this real quickly. Nebraska, and this comes from our guys at On 3, Sean Callahan, obviously, you hear him on Early Break. Steve Sipple, obviously a part of Early Break as well. Those guys reporting over at On 3 that Nebraska is set to host Jamal Banks on a visit to Lincoln on January 5th. How about this? Michigan is also working on hosting the Wake Forest transfer portal wide receiver on a visit in January, does Banks tell the Wolverine.com. So there's a recruiting dead period until next month for the entire country, obviously. But Jamal Banks it looks like he's slated to visit both Nebraska and Michigan. Listed at 6'4", 205 pounds. He attended Baltimore St. Francis High School, which was the same high school as Michigan running back Blake Corum, sophomore edge rusher Derek Moore, and Michigan linebacker Jayshawn Barham.
Hopefully he didn't like him.
There you go. So Jamal Banks is slated for a visit in January, along with the Oregon transfer running back. This one, obviously, a couple days older. Dante Dowdle from Oregon is slated to visit on January 5th as well. Let's take a break. We talk more college football on an update on the Quick Lane Bowl, Bowling Green, with former Indiana and Missouri quarterback Connor Bazelak scored in 3 plays against the Golden Gophers defense. Cole Kramer for the Gophers making his first career collegiate start in his 5th season, sitting behind quarterbacks at Minnesota. So he's trying to lead him down the field right now, trailing 7-0 to the Bowling Green Falcons. Bowling Green
Urban Meyer
Falcons. There it is. Urban Meyer U. Let's take a break. 1 o'clock hour continues coming up next. You're listening to Happy Hour. Nick Sainert, Austin Norman with you right after this on 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online online at prg-ne.com.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
This is Jeff Essink, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
This is Jeff Essink, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Everything we do, from our jobs to our hobbies, to the stuff that makes us who we are, all of those things come with the tool of the trade. I'm Trooper White of the Nebraska State Patrol. Wearing your seatbelt can reduce your risk of injury by 50% in a crash. So every time you get in a vehicle, remember to use the tool of the trade, your seatbelt. This message presented by the Nebraska State Patrol and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, Austin Orman back with you. Rico should be back tomorrow. He was visiting family up basically where the blizzard warning was happening. So they got a little bit more snow than us up there, I believe. I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong. It's like Orchard, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where he is. So anyway, he should be back tomorrow. We're planning on him being back tomorrow, but we'll see if weather permits him to. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys. the rest of the way here, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. All avenues for you guys to get in touch with us here on the show. You can also follow and check me and Austin out on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Nick_Sainert and at Austin_Orman there on Twitter as well. All right, Austin, let's talk about this job David Braun has done at Northwestern, because we've talked about it in bits and pieces over the last couple of months, while Northwestern has kind of gone through this interesting season on that they've had success when probably nobody really thought that they could win even one game. You have all the stuff happen with Pat Fitzgerald at the end of the offseason. David Braun, who got there in January, takes over and abruptly becomes the interim head coach. Then halfway through the year, they make him that was the smartest move all season long, by the way, was to take the interim tag off of him early, right? David Braun then gets the full-time permanent job at Northwestern. And then how about this? They beat Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl 14-7. And Northwestern 8-5. 8-4. 8-4.
A 7-win regular season.
Yes, a 7-win regular season. They are 8-5 overall to end the season. Incredible job by David Braun, who I thought if I had the power to give a coach of the year vote, that's the guy I'm giving it to.
I don't know who else would really be in the running. I mean, maybe like a Kalen DeBoer, maybe like your other guy, Elia Drinkwitz.
Yeah.
But I think it was this. Obviously, every publication put out their preseason predictions. I forget who it was, but I think the highest number of wins anyone had for Northwestern was 3, which makes sense. You look at all the turmoil, and not just any regular turmoil. You get rid of the guy that's meant everything to your program level turmoil, the guy who's been there for 15, 17 years. It's just the head coach, let alone how long he's there as an assistant. In Pat Fitzgerald played there. And it'd be one thing if we'd say, oh, this is the Northwestern bounce back. They were below 500 for a couple of years. We know that they're going to be back here. Northwestern went from 7-2 in the COVID year to 3-9 to 1-11. And we're looking at that roster saying, where's the talent? Where are the pieces? Not sold on Ben Bryant. Lost a lot of NFL guys to the draft. Lost some guys to the transfer portal. Oh, on top of losing your means everything, your program head coach, on top of bringing a coordinator in from the FCS level, what is this team going to be? It's going to be a problem. It's going to be bad. Is Pat Fitzgerald on the hot seat?
Winless.
Right.
Like they're going to be a winless team.
We said that about them. We said Colorado, same sort of thing. But obviously this is a Northwestern conversation, so we'll stick there. This is maybe the most Northwestern season of all. Outside of the scandal, right? I mean, it's supposed to be a squeaky clean program, but everyone counted them out. No one gave them a chance. Like, I don't say that as a cliche. Like, literally, no one gave them a chance. Who thought Northwestern was going to win 2 conference games, let alone go 5-4 and finish in the top half of, admittedly, a very Big Ten West.
Yeah.
But Nebraska had every opportunity to win 7 games and didn't. Minnesota had every opportunity to win 7 games and didn't. Illinois, Purdue, same thing. They didn't. Northwestern did.
I think we're starting to find out also that when you have an opportunity to hire a North Dakota State coach, you do it.
USC, welcome down.
Especially, honestly, especially if you are I don't want to say lower level Power 5, but the expectation at Northwestern might not be the expectation at at a Auburn, at a Alabama, like obviously not those types of places, but at a place like Northwestern where it can be difficult at times to recruit. He being David Braun, fully embraced the idea of like, listen, we're going to pitch that, hey, you're getting a great academic life ahead of you at Northwestern. You're getting a great degree, but then also you can play football at this place as well. So I think when you look at Northwestern, David Braun's fully embraced that. Northwestern did an incredible job. They found stability in the most unstable time in recent memory for them at Northwestern, right? Where they have to deal with so many lawsuits. They have to deal with all the off the field publicity, everybody transferring. They found a guy in David Braun that unified that locker room. It's a very similar situation, as I say, to Nebraska, right? Nebraska felt like it was not necessarily unified after Scott Frost got fired. Now, give credit to Mickey Joseph and his staff, because guess what? Mickey came in, and how many times did we hear him say, listen, I'm not going to leave this place in a worse place than I found it. I'm going to leave it in a better spot. David Braun, and this is incredible because like it was like 4 weeks into the season. Northwestern did this like maybe it was even College Game Day. Somebody did a feature on David Braun, and he said that exact same thing. He said, I was asked, how are you going to, as an interim at this time, how are you going to leave your mark? And he said, I'm going to make it great for the next guy in line. And he said, whether that's me, whether that's not me, I don't care. I care about Northwestern. And this is a guy that's been there for less than a year. Still to this day has been there less than a year. He was hired on January 20th of 2023. And here he is. He's the permanent head coach in a wild year for him, an insane year for Northwestern's athletic department. They feel like they have some stability, and they were able to stave off any other programs and universities trying to swoop in and steal David Braun. Because if from a Power 5 institution, you're saying you can take that at Northwestern, make it in a 7 or 8 win ball team through everything in less than a year, we'll take you and we're going to pay you more. There's less recruiting restrictions with academics. You come do your thing because we need this hard-nosed football coach. Northwestern avoided that by taking the interim tag off early. And you can say the same thing then transition to NFL. It's, hey, Raiders, do the same thing. Make it easy, provide stability, because stability wins you games.
You saw what Antonio Pierce was like in that post-game interview yesterday, the way he got that team to rally. They had their chance with Rich Bisaccia, I think is who it was a few years ago. They ended up not going with him, which is fine, because I think there's still a lot of skepticism, some wait and see. Even for me with David Braun, I'm not all in on him. He did a commendable job. Should be coach of the year. I could do that in one season, right? Again, I'm not saying I could have done the job David Braun did, but I'm sure there's some universe out there in which I get lucky enough and good enough to go 8-5 in one season. David Braun's a better football coach than he'll ever be, right? He deserves credit for it, but I can understand why some athletic directors would say, I don't know. I need to see more from this guy. Credit Northwestern, though, for, buying it. They didn't, they bought high, but he's not expensive. No, he's not making Pat Fitzgerald money, so it's a worthy
first-time head coach,
right? Worthy gamble to take. It's cost-effective for them, saves a lot of face. You keep a guy who's popular around for not a lot of money. Well, you have to pay him. Who knows? You have time to wait and see. But you gave him the stability that he had no idea he was going to get, right? Think about that. Back in May, June, July, when we were talking about everything breaking with Northwestern, David Braun's probably thinking, what did I sign up for? Like, why did I move my family from Fargo to Evanston for 1 year? Like, I'm sure he understands that's the business. That's how it goes. But it's kind of like some baseball players, right? The ones that come from, less privileged, less, poorer backgrounds, is they'll take that stability up front just to say they have it, instead of a guy like, say, Bobby Witt Jr., who comes from money, has a loaded family, can wait to sign an extension. So I think Northwestern got the best end of the deal because they get a guy that they believe in, that united that community, that rallied them around himself, his coaching style, but not in a force of personality way, in a, everyone else doesn't believe in you, I believe in you. It's about the team. It's about you guys coming together. David Braun got the best because he's still a Power 5 head coach. He got more guaranteed money than he got at North Dakota State. And that's where I think this offseason is the first big challenge for him, because when all this was going down with Pat Fitzgerald, even though there was the coaching change, I'm sure a lot of those players felt stuck. Didn't know what to do. I think David Braun put on one heck of a show to say, hey, this is why you should stick around and stay a Wildcat. Sure, there are plenty of guys who will dip. Appreciate it, coach. We had a good year. I think I can go somewhere else. But I'm curious to see how he does in recruiting, because obviously you mentioned the academic standards. We know that comes into play at Northwestern. But really, in terms of the talent level, Nick, what's the big difference between North Dakota State recruiting at the top of FCS and Northwestern at the bottom of FBS? I would put a lot of those former, North Dakota State rosters up with plenty of Division I, especially lower Power 5 rosters, and plenty of Group of 5 teams. Yes, the academic restrictions are different in Northwestern than North Dakota State, but I still think he's getting the same caliber of player which might be a hidden advantage. He knows what traits to look for, what kind of guys are available at that range more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, you look, they're probably going to have to do some work also through the transfer portal. Maybe get at the quarterback position first off, right? Like that's a place I could see an Ethan Kaliak-Manis going, right? Where like a type of skill level like that to where, or maybe somebody in a bowl game where they show up and say, hey, you know what? I have a little bit of potential here. Once again, it's Nick Sainert, Austin Norman with you. Good stuff so far. We're about an hour and a half through the show. We got about 30 minutes left. When we come back, let's talk about how important January is for Nebraska men's basketball, because Joe Lenardi of ESPN just released another bracket. Where's Nebraska stand? We'll tell you about that. Update on the Quick Lane Bowl. Minnesota scored a touchdown, and they went out for the point after. They ended up going for 2 instead, and the place kicker slipped on a banana peel. The turf monster got him, and so he then fell on his bum, and they failed on the 2-point conversion. So it's 7-6 currently, Bowling Green with a 1-point lead, just a couple minutes left in the first quarter there in Detroit, Michigan at the Quick Lane Bowl. But back here, let's talk Husker hoops. When we return, they'll have a couple more days off until December 29th when they play North Dakota, I believe. South Carolina State
on Friday.
So they already played North Dakota. South Carolina State on the 29th before they go into conference play. We'll tell you all about it coming up next. You're listening to the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Everything we do, from our jobs to our hobbies, to the stuff that makes us who we are, all of those things come with the tool of the trade. I'm Trooper White of the Nebraska State Patrol. Wearing your seatbelt can reduce your risk of injury by 50% in a crash. So, every time you get in a vehicle, remember to use the tool of the trade, your seatbelt. This message presented by the Nebraska State Patrol and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Blecker and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador online at prg-ne.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
If your car has sent you to the sidelines, Eustace Body Shop can help. With gold-class certified technicians, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop is your best choice this Husker season. And with 6 locations across central and eastern Nebraska, we've got you covered, whether you're rooting at home or you're headed to Memorial Stadium. Get a free online quote at EustaceBodyShop.com, and let's get you back in the game.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apple, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
The Mill Coffee and Tea. Formerly with 4 Lincoln locations, but now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
This is Jeff Essing, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-week challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, Austin Orman with you. Update on the Quick Lane Bowl, still 7-6. Minnesota just forced a turnover on downs. So obviously, Minnesota gets the ball back. Cole Kramer making his first start for the Gophers. They have the C for captain on his jersey. I would imagine that in his first career start, this is the first time that he's wearing the C on his jersey as well.
What do you think of the outline Bucky?
I don't mind it. The teeth kind of freak me out a little bit.
They're so big and so prominent.
Yeah, they're so big and they're so bright too.
Everything else is yellow.
Yeah.
Why if those would be yellow, it might fit better.
Yeah, but you don't want Bucky to have yellow teeth. You can't have Bucky with yellow teeth.
It's just a helmet.
So there you go.
It's fine.
Anyway, back here in Lincoln, though, Nebraska basketball will face off against South Carolina State this Friday, 6:30 p.m. kickoff from Pinnacle Bank Arena. This is the last non-conference game for Nebraska basketball prior to fully going into conference play, where they'll face Indiana, Wisconsin, and then Purdue in the next 3 of the 4 games. Let's talk about the hypothetical scenario, Austin, where they are 11-2 coming out of South Carolina State's game, right? Which I think if you were, had to pick a side, that's the direction you would go. Is that Nebraska basketball is 11-2 going into the new year. That's exactly how you needed this to plan out this year. To number one, maybe have a little more of a renewed confidence in Fred Hoiberg and his coaching ability, but then also just with this schedule, that's what you needed. You have the most, one of the most experienced teams in all of the Big Ten Conference, right, on your roster. Maybe not the most talented, but the teams that you're supposed to win against and you're supposed to beat, you've beaten outside of maybe Minnesota. But then you answered that with beating two teams in Michigan State who probably you weren't the favorite in, and then also Kansas State on the road. It's a really impressive mark if Nebraska's able to go 11-2 coming out of this non-conference slate.
Because that would be what? Subtract 10-1 in non-conference.
Yep.
Adequate.
Yeah.
Acceptable. More than. And here's the thing. I mean,
one loss came to a top 10 team in Creighton.
Right.
The
Now.
The fashion doesn't look good.
Right.
Yes.
But yes, on its face, not great. You dive in. Okay, whatever. You can move on. Nebraska in these last, 4 games before North Dakota, Creighton, Minnesota, Michigan State, Kansas State. I said going in, that's going to tell me what this team is for the rest of the year. I think there are a lot of Big Ten teams the caliber of Kansas State.
Yeah,
I really do. Nebraska will win its fair share of those games. Nebraska's also going to lose its fair share of those games. I think we were talking before the show, and Joey Brackett said, first 4 out for Nebraska?
Yeah, Joe Lenardi of ESPN has Nebraska listed first 4 out on his tournament projections.
And that's really where I fall with this team. It is absolutely not a surefire, slam dunk NCAA tournament team.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly better than your average NIT team, maybe slightly worse than what you would think of for your average NCAA tournament team from the Power 5, of course. Nebraska's solid. Pretty much across the board, Nebraska's solid. You got to get Rink Mass back in the next 10 days. Really, I think that's of vital importance to this team. And you have to find a way to maybe tick those shooting numbers up just a little bit, especially from 3. But Nebraska is going to have some games where it will be able to play sloppy Big Ten basketball and grind out wins. I still think there's a few more, pretty games in this team where they're able to get into the low to mid 80s and look pretty solid in doing it. But Nebraska's not so good that they're going to be favorites on the road against many teams. Yeah. They'll be favored at home by a possession or 2 at home most times, maybe 5 to 7 points. But I think that first 4 out, last 4 in range is where we'll see Nebraska all year. This team still frustrates me because I don't think it's good enough to pull away, and leave no doubt that it's a tournament team, but it's also not bad enough to sink so far that you completely write the postseason hopes off. I think Nebraska fans are in for a long few months here of what is this team? Do they make it?
Well, and that's a good point. Maybe part of that is because of the experience, right? We always talk about on a smaller scale of like in the middle of a game, are they able to stop the runs? Well, how about this? On a larger scale, in the middle of a season, are they able to stop the droughts? Are they able to stop the 3-game losing streaks and the 2-game losing streaks and maybe steal a game when they just need it? They just need a game. They're going to have to figure it out, right? Nebraska, by the way, right now is one of 3 Big Ten conference teams with double-digit wins overall. They join Ohio State and Purdue as the other 2 teams who are who have double-digit wins this season. Nebraska, as we mentioned, is gonna probably be okay against South Carolina State on Friday. South Carolina State is a team that let me see if I can figure this out real quick. 4-10 on the season. South Carolina State 4-10 overall. Coming into Lincoln, you would hope that with or without Rink Mass, you're able to win that game. And they showed a little bit. And this is what Gino says. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Isn't that the real question, though? How many of those 11 are actual real wins? 2 of them and 2 absolute egg lays at Creighton and Minnesota. Got to quit the egg lays for me to have any renewed confidence if I ever had any. Now, what I would say to that, Gino, is maybe not have such a high bar for what gives you renewed confidence. And what I mean by that is you don't need a statement win against a top 10 program to maybe get some renewed confidence. Look at last game against North Dakota. Nebraska was playing like garbage. They were playing like garbage.
Steaming pile of it.
Yeah, it was bad. And in so many years before, they would have folded over being down by 14 at one point in the second half. They would have folded. I think they were actually down by 17 at one point in the second half.
15 or 17.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they hit a 3 to extend their lead to even more than 14. But nonetheless, Nebraska was in years past would have folded quicker than ever.
Mm-hmm.
This year, and CJ Wilcher actually admitted that in the post-game press conference, in fact. But now this year, that goes back to that experience and what you hope you can kind of change from previous seasons is with experience, you have somebody that you can kind of lean on. Normally, maybe that would have been Rink Mass. They were without Rink Mass, and yes, they still found a way to do it, to get it done. But you had 6 guys in double figures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the balance is better than probably ever before under Fred Hoiberg. The rebounding has been better than ever before under Fred Hoiberg. The free throw shooting has been as well. It doesn't matter who you're playing, whether you're playing the 5th team in the country or an unranked team. Free throws are free throws.
3-point shooting has been better, not elite, but better.
So what I guess what I would say to that, Gino, is you're right? They have, they got blown out to Creighton, and then they also should have probably won against Minnesota on the road. So I get where you're coming from 100%. Now I would also add in saying, don't force it to be such a high bar for what gives you maybe a little bit of confidence or optimism in what this team can do. Because guess what? I got a little bit of confidence and optimism once they responded from those 2 games where they laid an egg and they were able to defeat some guys and defeat some better programs. They didn't have to play a South Carolina State and North Dakota after those 2 games. They got right back into it with Michigan State at home, who bludgeoned Baylor their next game out. And then they went on the road to another Power 5 institution and was able to win pretty comfortably there.
It didn't look like what Nebraska has done in years past, right? Nebraska made Kansas State look like Nebraska has looked in years past. I'll say this too. Don't underrate the Duquesne win.
Yep.
Duquesne is a solid team right now. Again, it's still early enough in the season, but we're getting to the point where I'm willing to buy into some of these numbers even more. Duquesne's number 90 at Ken Pomeroy. That's pretty solid. Who's around them? Missouri, tournament team last year. Oklahoma State, up and down kind of program. You look at Minnesota, just a few spots ahead of Duquesne. So no, Duquesne wouldn't be a great Power 5 team, but they're enough of a challenge. You look at Kansas State, who, again, LSU, not great, but Kansas State went down there and smacked LSU. Beat Villanova, who's up and down. But Kansas State's played some good teams. I would say that Duquesne win is going to pick up some steam. I think Kansas State will be a factor to some degree in the Big 12, probably more spoiler than anything. And even the Oregon State win. Oregon State's not good. We saw that. But at least Nebraska scheduled that game and won it, right? They'll get a little bit of props for it. But that's where the next, month really, I think, determines a lot. Indiana coming home, find a way to beat them. I don't believe in Wisconsin. If Rink Mast is healthy, I really like that matchup for Nebraska. I do. I'm just not a believer in Wisconsin. You get Purdue at home. You get a do-over from last year when you had number 1 Purdue, number 4 Purdue, top 5 Purdue on the absolute ropes.
Hit the big 3. And guess what? Guess what is a big difference maker in that game? Free throws. You did not hit free throws in that game against the Boilermakers last year. So once again, looking at the numbers, they're hitting the free throws way better. And they've iced a couple games by doing so.
Right. So you get through Indiana, Wisconsin, Purdue. To me, though, Nick, the last 2/3 of January is where Nebraska can make some hay. There's going to be some important games. Iowa is not vintage Iowa.
No.
Iowa's not great this year. You go to Rutgers, a place that you won last year. Rutgers isn't quite what they have been the last few years under Peichel. Northwestern, that's the 94 Big 8 tournament champions teams, comes back and being an emotionally charged building. They rate out about the same as Nebraska. Not quite as good as they were last year, still definitely solid. Ohio State's a team I've got my eye on. Talented across the board. Have they gelled? Have they come together? And then Maryland, who just went on the road.
That's good.
No, they smacked UCLA.
Well, they smacked UCLA, but not not a typical Maryland team. Not the Bruno Fernandos, not the Melo Trimbles.
That's funny because I think those weren't the typical Maryland teams. We think of Maryland as this big basketball power because it's a basketball school. Maryland has been what it's been for most of the last decade. Like Maryland's solid, but Nebraska's given Maryland some good games, won its fair share of games in that series. I'm not scared of Maryland. So I think that stretch of Iowa, Rutgers, Northwestern, Ohio State, Maryland, before we get Wisconsin at home then to start February, I think that's a huge stretch for this team at the end of the month.
I would also say this to Husker fans, right? when you look at the times of when Nebraska's games are, like tip-offs times, be okay with the 8 p.m. tip-offs because good teams play at 8 p.m. The best teams in the conference play at 8 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena is much more charged.
Much better at 8 than 6.
Yeah, at 8 o'clock than a live or late arriving crowd at 6, right? So you look at Nebraska in the conference slate, Indiana and Purdue, both 8 p.m. 8 p.m. tip-off times. Wisconsin's a weekend game at 1:15 p.m. But I'm saying that because of two things, right? Indiana is going to give you an opportunity to get off of work, we'll do whatever you want to do, get downtown to the Haymarket, relax, right? But then also, that's one reason, is that the crowd has plenty of time to show up. Second off, everybody can watch you. Every single person in the country can watch you because you are going to be in prime time. Well, not necessarily prime time, but 8 p.m., right? You are the nightcap. You have an opportunity against a Mike Woodson and Indiana team that took Kansas to the ropes at home. And then the number one team in the country at this time, Purdue, you have an opportunity to showcase to the whole country about why you deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. Not that you can't do that at 6 p.m., but if you're at 6 p.m., there's a lot less likely of a chance of maybe somebody finding you than at 8 p.m., right? So let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll cross things over, get you ready for On the Block. Maybe we'll wrap it up with a little more Husker basketball conversation. Huge thanks to Austin for hanging out with me these last 2 hours or so. Update on the Quick Lane Bowl, still 7-6. It looks like the Minnesota quarterback just got engaged because they keep showing his fiance about every single Cole Kramer. So, and he just made a nice run. Oh, got lit up at the end there, but he seems to be okay. So let's go ahead and take a break. We'll wrap up the show and prepare you for On the Block with Strick and Austin coming up next, right here, 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating. The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of snow showers taking place throughout the day. We'll see an afternoon high around 32. Tonight, a slight chance of snow will continue. Otherwise, we'll see mainly cloudy skies and a low around 20. And tomorrow, a slight chance of snow continuing throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny skies expected with a high of 32. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clicker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
If your home heating system is making strange noises or just doesn't work like it should, call your friends at Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Sign up for Bryant's exclusive ESP service protection plan. You'll get twice annual complete and thorough service on all brands, and you'll never pay overtime charges on evenings, weekends, or holidays. Schedule your heating check today and ask about Bryant's ESP plan to save money. Call 467-1111 or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hi, I'm Steve Carper for O Street Carpet. For Christmas, we're doing everything possible to help you spruce up your home without making a dent in your holiday budget. If you need new wood flooring, new carpet, ceramic tile, vinyl, area rugs, or custom blinds, you want to shop at O Street Carpet. We offer 12-month same-as-cash financing, Lincoln's best selection in stock, free in-home measuring, and we'll install it right away. 1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today, with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
Herbie the Fourth ate his first solid food today, prompting a response of nothing but steaks all week for the Nebraska offensive line.
Then Enrique Alvarez Clary.
No more peaches and carrots for Herbie the Seventh. Baby food be damned.
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Thanks for hanging out with us the entire show today. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, and the Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys the entire show and the rest of the afternoon. Thanks to Jay Foreman for hopping on the show for the first segment as well. Rico is planning to be back tomorrow, I think. So
Yes, we'll see.
If not, Austin will join me once again, like always. But once again, you can join us on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream as well. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. All right. By the way, before we forget, huge shout out to Delco Dave. Delco Dave's, and he not surprised us, but brought us Philly cheesesteaks down.
I was expecting tacos. It was cheesesteaks.
I was expecting tacos as well, but he surprised us with cheesesteaks, and we're happy either way. So make sure you visit them, 1140 O Street, just behind Starter Heyman Jewelers in the alley. So obviously you can go to grab yourself a cheesesteak and then pair it with a nice little piece of jewelry if you forgot to get a Christmas gift. So thanks again to, once again, Delco Dave's for providing our staff with lunch today. Much needed pick-me-up after the holiday weekend. Now, Austin, I have to know before we move on to On the Block, how did baby Herbie do at Christmas?
How do you think he did? How about that? How would you think that my son would behave
He probably
at Christmas?
loved it.
He was great.
He was great.
He was a trooper the whole time. So
slept a lot. Slept a lot.
He did sleep a lot. Now,
yeah, jeez Louise.
here and there, enough. He still got his naps in.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, he was very happy. So handled the first Christmas on the 23rd beautifully.
Okay.
Only had a a minor blowout.
Nice.
But other than that, it was fine. Happy, content. The next day was a long day, a lot of driving, saw multiple sides of the family. He did great, though. That one, there were many, many young screaming children. So we got a little overworked, a little anxious. But we took him in back, settled him down a few times, and brought him back out, and he was fine. And then yesterday went off without a hitch. Went to church well, was bouncing and smiling. Handled the day with the older, less insane, less rambunctious. That's a good word. Side of that family. So I was very proud of him. He was a trooper. Stayed up through pretty much all of it. Didn't cause a fuss. Didn't cause a scene. Started to grab some of his toys a little bit. So I was proud of the little guy.
Wow. How about that for the first Christmas?
He and his dad got matching red and black flannels. So.
Oh, is that right? Nice. Awesome. Well, what's coming up on the show today, Austin?
Well, there's a text that I wanted to get to here from 0598 with Stricky about the Nebraska men's basketball record and what people are saying is going to happen for the Huskers. If their record does end up there, what does that mean? We'll go over the NFL and NBA weekends, but also 2 college football quarterback transfers are in the works. Tate Rodemaker from Florida State put out a really interesting statement, said the quiet part out loud. Want to get into that. And then Talia Tagovailoa looking to enter the transfer portal. Hasn't done it yet because some behind-the-scenes reasons. So we'll dive into a 24/7 report on that.
It's going to be good. We'll have to touch on this tomorrow. Florida State, I believe they're going to be without 16 starters. On their game against Georgia, one of those obviously being that starting quarterback, a Tate Rodemaker. So a freshman will get his opportunity against the 2-time defending champions, the Georgia Bulldogs. But that'll do it for us. Thanks to Austin for hanging around. Don't go anywhere. Strick and Austin on the block coming up next.